Well, good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of the Men's Lounge. Last week, we had a discussion on growing our future, men, what we want them to become, the kind of husbands we want them to become. This week, we'll be continuing that discussion. And obviously, with the same people, my good friends, Michael and Benny, will be joining me for us to have that discussion. But before that, let me urge you all to join us on all our social media platforms at ETV Ghana. So YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at ETV Ghana. You can join us there. Now, Facebook also is where you can find us. Actually, you can. I'm sure some of you are even watching us live already. So we are grateful to be part of your evening. We are bringing you a very exciting episode this evening as well. Now, let me just ask you, how has your week been? I mean, the previous weekend, then your weekend. IMF in SEM, all the issues happening around. And I'm hearing there's going to be some increment in fuel soon again. I wonder when this will stop. By the way, what can we do? We can only pray to live. There's one nice thing about Ghanaians. No matter how bad, how sad you are, you can't be sad in peace. There's something that will make you laugh. So guys, let's not stress ourselves. Let's not bring or invite too much stress onto our lives. Let's enjoy life as it rolls by, and let's live life. It's very, very important. Let's keeping an eye on the boys that want to grow for the future. We'll go on this break. When we're back, I'll introduce the guest once again, and then we can start the discussion. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are here in the Men's Lounge about to have one discussion that we started last week, and by popular request, we even realized that there wasn't much. There's so much that we need to discuss when it comes to growing our boys of today to become the husbands and the men that we want them to become in future. Last week, if you remember, we spoke about how there seemed to be so much, should I say, promotion or noise around the girl child, and nothing is being said about the boy child, as if there is anything like that, the boy child. What is happening? Are we overdriving that whole idea of the girl child? Should we begin to drive the boy child also along? Remember, there was this statement that was made by one of the guests, and he said that it is easy to mold than to mend. It is quite easy to mold than to mend. Let's not let them get there to begin to want to mend them. The concept example was with the concrete. When you are molding the concrete, it's easy. But when it hardens up and you want to break it, the cost of breaking it alone is no joke. So, on this note, I want to welcome Michael and Benny once more. Benny,
Sir.
How was the weekend, the week as well?
It was good. I've had a lot to do, but overly it was very great.
It was.
And very grateful to be alive.
Yeah.
And anticipating another price increase in fuel.
Fuel.
The Lord is our
Well, it doesn't look like something we can run away from. I guess we have to just brace ourselves for what's coming.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no. Listen, whatever happens, we'll be here. We'll overcome. We'll see things through. We will manifest destiny, whether
you.
the enemy likes it or not.
I'm with you. Michael.
Yeah, no.
Were you part of the team that went to IMF? Or are you part of the team that is going to IMF?
Unfortunately, I don't have that grace.
Oh, you don't?
Not in cow. No,
It wasn't you, right? I see. But how was your weekend?
I am not among of them.
You are not among of them. That English, the way I've heard it before in school, eh? I'm not among of them.
That's right.
Anyway, but your week was good?
Very good week.
And the weekend?
And relaxed weekend.
Yeah, we thank God.
Out of character, I didn't do much this weekend. I
Okay.
spent it with the family, so that
family.
was good.
Anyway, I mean, spending that with the family is one of the things that we need to be teaching the young boys, that when they grow up, they should find their wives not in the club. I never forget this. One man was here and he actually had told the children that, look, the club is nowhere to find a wife. So, yes. So when they grow up and they find their wives, they should also learn to spend time just as you did over the weekend, right? Yeah. You remember last week we were having the discussion on this same issue with growing our boys to become the husbands and the fathers that we want them to become. Yeah. We spoke about. In fact, I did ask a question on. So we've seen what is going on. What should we do? How do we begin to help these kids? How do we begin to change the narrative of what we see. I think I even gave an example on how I see some of these kids with their. I wonder, is it that they don't have belts? Like they don't have belts to wear on their jeans, and I wonder what's happening. But hey, I guess it's part of the trend per se and the upbringing that some of them have. But hey, the question again is that, so with all these things we see, so we as the fathers, we as the men, what should we do, Benny?
Well, thank you.
Before you proceed, let me share something with you. So, just when we left the studio last week, only about 10 meters from the entrance of the studio, there were a group of boys. And there was so much fun. And I wonder, is that not what we just discussed? So, what is going on? The excitement, the dances, and I'm like, okay, what is keeping these guys excited? Now, the interesting part is that I couldn't even hear the music. What were they dancing to? Anyway, so Benny, what should we do?
I think I started off on the lap of education. And for me, it's very key. And it's so important that not repeating what was shared last week, but trying to buttress that element. I just listened to a documentary about the impact of education and entertainment, how a lot of Africans or black communities have actually embraced the element of entertainment, that it mellows the strength of our faculties to really create and to be very impactful with driving with our minds. So we tend to embrace more around entertainment, mellows us, than the level or the kind of education that brings a person up to be developed to create solutions for our communities. So if you go on TikTok, you will find these European boys, American boys, teenagers that are creating. I remember when Corona, really rampaged the whole world.
Yeah.
There's a small boy, a little boy, maybe about 13, 14 years old, who created a system that updates the data for the people that are actually contracting the virus.
Okay.
And those that are dying. And you could have real time, updates coming from this link, or the server he created. A young boy. If you go on TikTok, about 95% of the content on education on entertainment is being driven by Africans. 95%. The rest of the world are putting on content relative to productivity, production, things relative to business, solution. We are just entertaining. So you are either dancing or you have this music or saying funny things or misbehaving that's where we have. So our development plan to really make because you're talking about growing tomorrow's men today. That means that we should pick the end from the beginning. Today, there's a song out there that says that adulthood is a scam. And the only reason why they're saying adulthood is a scam is they're not telling us the things that should be happening tomorrow. Hence, preparing you today towards it.
So you get there and
it's like, I wasn't told about this. Why are you giving me sweets today? Teaching my tongue a taste and a preference that will harm my biological manhood tomorrow. Take it away from me. So there's a lot of things we're being fed today, developing us, giving us Coke and Fanta, and that is yay, giving us chocolates and sweets, whereas we know that these things will impact. So it's like you will only get to adulthood, and all the things you don't need in your body, your system has gotten used to.
Yeah.
You are taught to be given meat. So when you have a lot of meat on your meal, you're living good. But at the end of the day, you get to a certain age and you start developing prostate cancer. And it's all a compounding of some of these things that are put into us. So you get into adulthood and you realize that you are not prepared for anything at all. I think the curriculum of what it means to be a man must be redefined for boys in Ghana. And just to land so that maybe Michael would, add his voice here. For me, the key is today, if you talk about someone say that I'm the man, is because on your back or shy and he could hump your hair or sorry, chalo bema. But that's not the definition of manhood.
Why isn't it? Benny, why? Why isn't it?
See,
He's a man.
so growing up, that dream the mind of the boy is, Charlie, I forget some chick, hit him hard. The more she screams, the more I'm proving my manhood.
And then after 45.
And then after that, what else? So all the definitions that really makes you today walk into a room and gain the respect of the room.
It's not there anymore.
It's not there.
Yeah.
Because when you finish the bedroom and you walk outside to walk into a room, people are looking at certain things from you to really prove that you're the man. Not how many rounds you are able to do in the, oh yeah, that is important, but that is not what defines you as a man. So the curriculum for developing of boys, the mindset that shapes men must change. And I think this is what we need. And that is part of the education I'm talking about, not just schooling, but so many things that we can really, hit on when it comes to the development of the boy child.
So it means that, you and I
Yeah.
should begin to drive the mindset of these boys
Yes.
towards the point that this is what it actually means to be called a man and not
That's correct.
the misconceptions
That's
that
correct.
you have. My girl, what should we do? You know my mother is the only one who start slapping them and just deal with them. It doesn't work. My girl, what should we do?
First, we need to understand young people. And then we need to understand the role of the significant adults like us. And then we need to understand the mandate of significant adults like us.
Okay.
So
their
three
lives.
things in their lives. And if we can do that, then we'll be able to raise better boys, prepared for the future, to do what Reverend just talked about.
What would be the role? I'm sure you are going to that. What would be the role of that? Us. What would
Yeah.
be our role?
That's right.
And
The-
what
the-
would then be
very
that
good.
significant mandate as well?
Awesome. Now, if you look at where the world is going and how the world is, in the not too distant future, everything is going to be automated. And so we are not talking about an education or adults who are shaping boys to go and work. The camera crew here know, back in the day, if GTV or GBC was coming to cover a program, their cameras were like Potomanto. Today, with a phone, people can capture things. So you can see that technology is already changing everything.
Yeah.
Now, but there are three things that we need to teach young people to prepare them for the future. Three things. One is wisdom. We need to deliberately train the boys of today to be wise, because as for wisdom, no machine can do that. Then good judgment. The HR manager here knows that when they are employing somebody, it is not because of the certificate, but they are employing somebody who has good judgment, who come and add value to the operations here. And then the last one is discernment. So every parent, every significant adult, it is your job to give or to provide these three things that I call the big three for every young person who is in your care. And it has to be deliberate. You don't leave it to chance. This is not something you leave for television or radio or social media. You have to do it yourself. Now, every adult, the role of us parents or adults in the life of young boys is to do three things, the three P's. What should we do? Number one, protection. It is the job of a parent or an adult to protect the young one from unwanted things, both physically, emotionally, attitudinally, and everything.
But the young boys or the young men, seem to from that stage begin to feel that masculinity in them so much that now what is Papa doing? Papa can
Yes,
protect
it
me.
is because of the developmental stages and phases they go through. So protection, if we know, we all remember that we must protect our young people physically. If we were in the village, it was the job of the father to have a fence that physically protects his family from animals, from strangers, from unwanted things. But in Accra, in the cities, in the urban centers, we are to also protect our children from unwanted influences, whether technology, social, or whatever. Then there's the role of provision. We must provide for the people. What do they need to survive currently and for the future? That's the job of us. And then finally is promotion. Promotion of the right values. Promotion of the right things that will make sure that we are deliberately growing and cultivating the leaders that Ghana needs for the future. Who are going to be the teachers Ghana needs in the next 15 years? It is going to come from these boys in our areas, the boys in our schools, who are going to work in the public sector. The same boy. So we must promote what they will need to be able to become effective Ghanaians 15 years from today. Protection, provision, promotion.
Protection.
That is what we must do.
Protection, provision, and then promotion. You know, Benny, I'm so sure you want to speak, but when you were speaking, you put a lot of emphasis, or you put some emphasis on social media. Now let me ask you, do you think, and that goes to both of you, do you think that social media has been helpful, or it's rather been corrupt to our boys growing up? And well, what should we do if it's been corrupt? What should fathers begin to do? Should we begin to stop buying them the tablets, seize them from getting on there to see whatever they've been seeing?
You want to go or should I? Okay.
Please.
Okay. See, in 2017, I, together with my team, deployed the Google Digital Skills for Africa here in Ghana on behalf of Google.
Okay.
And we did a lot, trained in different regions. It was a privilege because I learned a lot, you know, having also the opportunity to train it and practically gain the skill to use it. Digital is the way the world is going. And like it or not, a couple of years down the line, a lot of things will change for us. We thought it was far. When Corona hit us, we knew it was here and closer than we thought.
Corona brought it quicker, eh?
Took very, very quick
Because we had to do a lot of things without having to meet, you know, in person.
You know, and so there are definitely the advantages that digital brings to us. The question you are asking is not about the value that digital brings to our community, but we are asking if our people are having the benefits or the value of digital.
Okay.
How many are taking advantage of it? See, people are making tons of money using these devices.
True.
Unfortunately, what our kids have gotten used to is to watch. Today in the house, my kids, all of them have tablets. DSTV, GoTV. I canceled all the subscriptions. I bought books. We read. I'm telling you, as I said, DSTV is not working in my house. GoTV off. I've got I don't know how many. I've got Amazon TV with tons of, all of them, everything off. No Netflix, nothing. Only internet. Yes, isolatedly, they might see one thing here or there. But let's read. Let's create, you know, the culture of practicing your skill. So instead of watching Emanuela have comedy, create your own. Let's put it on YouTube. So develop your ability. You see, this is when it becomes beneficial. When you are part of the creators, then it will benefit you. But if you are the one that's consuming, remember you are paying data to watch. You're spending. You know, so when you talk about the values, the advantages, yes, it is. But are we really taking advantage of the influences that we see on social media that is actually engulfing our youth today? See, if it's not critical enough, then you don't live in the world we live in. You live in a different bubble. It is worrying. The songs my kids know, the songs they will sing, I will hear and maybe sing also. Then I ask, okay, where did you hear this? Today, my daughter will turn 10 in a couple of weeks. She wants a phone for herself. So no, unless, of course, you will prove to me within this period that you are putting your ability out there, then you need a device to enable it. If not, I'm not going to pay for a phone and data for you to do what? watch other kids do their thing? No. So, you see, it's intentional.
Okay.
And the world is driving the influence to us because we are gullible. It is easy for them to throw anything at us.
And they are throwing at us.
And they are.
And we are taking
so
it.
if you don't permit it, the other day, a friend of mine was having a conversation with, this not male, not female kind people. I'm sure you know what that
Actually, I
means.
was going to go to it.
Okay.
I'll get there.
My worry today is you want your life to be left the way it is, as a gay, as a lesbian, as a whatever you are. We respect that. Keep it. Why are you forcing us that you teach our children your values when we don't value it?
Benny, let me hold you on this one.
Can I just
Go
add
ahead.
one?
You just add.
See, the United States of America has done good with whatever they believe in, their belief system. Flawed as it may be, but that's what they believe in. I have a problem trying to empower one person's right over the rights of another.
Yeah.
I'm a church, I'm a Christian, I believe in this. Their law now began to push that if someone who is gay walks into the church to be married and the pastor says, no, we can't marry you, you get a problem with the law. If you walk into my cake shop that you want a cake for your wedding, and I say, no, I don't bake for such, and it's written, I own the right reserved to admit whoever I want, but I get a problem with the law. Why do you trump my right because you want to empower someone's right? So the inequalities in the agenda they're trying to push to us today, pushing it to our children. Go to Netflix, all the cartoons, the animations and things, all have, that is why I told you, I've stopped. No. Unless I'm seated, then we can watch. But even the subscription, I plugged it off. Let's rather read books. Or write it. So I have a computer for them, and they're writing their own small books.
Benny's on fire again.
When it comes to, I'm passionate about development.
Look,
so
when it comes
forgive
to
my
that,
French.
Michael,
Yeah.
we are still on that same issue.
What issue?
The issue of what should we do? But I
What
did
should we do? Yeah.
put across a question,
Yeah.
and which is what has made Benny, almost blown out
On fire again.
On fire again.
No,
Just
no,
as
I'm
he
not on
was.
fire. I'm just passionate. about-
Maybe let me just hold you guys on. I'll go for this break. Benny take some water. Then when we are back, we can just go straight to the discussion. Please stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Well, welcome back. If you are just joining us, we are still in the lounge discussing how to grow young boys, the young men of today. How we are going to grow them for them to become the husbands that our mothers or our wives want, and the fathers that we want them to become. And of course, the future leaders as a whole, because in the end, they will be leading the country. Michael said earlier, in 15 years, what kind of leaders are we going to have? It begins from now. We need to start telling them, we need to start shaping their line of action, their line of thought, the decisions that they make. We need to be deliberate about helping them or deciding what they should become. Before I left off for the break, Benny, you went a certain direction, which I'm very, very much interested. The LGBT, I don't know when there will be a Y and a Z. Now, let me just ask this question. If your son tells you one day that, Daddy, I think I'm gay, what would you do?
I think Michael answered this one.
Why do you want to stay away from this one?
Oh, I've spoken. So
Michael,
Michael should speak.
if your son tells you, Daddy, I want to talk to you, and he looks at you in the face and tells you this, that Daddy, I think I'm gay, what would you do?
I think it's a faith issue, and I will use my faith to handle it. I'm a Christian, and so I would use my Christian faith to handle this. I don't normally like to foster my faith on other
Yeah.
people, but in my home, I have jurisdictional authority, and so this is where I would use my faith to do it. And as a Christian, I will use what my Bible says.
Yeah.
It is not about my wishes. It is not about my culture. It is not, but as the faith I profess, what does it say? And we'll deal with the issue according to God's law, God's
according
word.
to God's law, which
Yeah,
is what
and
you
God's
also
word.
tag along
What
and
it-
believe
exactly.
in.
And I think it's very simple for society to be able to operate like that.
Yeah.
Every country in the world
They have their norms.
exactly
Yeah.
have their norms, they have their social norms, they
Yeah.
have their cultures,
Yeah.
they have the faith, and everybody lives a certain way based on the practice of that faith. There is a reason why somebody will work very hard and at the end of the month divide their money into 10 and give a tenth to their religious body.
Yeah.
There's a reason why somebody gets up and prays 5 times a day at certain points of the day. All these are practices that are dictated by the faith. And so, what I do, how I decide to have sex, and who I decide to love is a practice that must be dictated by my faith
Okay.
And values.
and values.
I see.
It is
I
not
see.
a rights issue, it's a faith and culture issue.
Okay. Because I mean, the drivers of these discussions
Yeah.
have been able to carve it nicely,
Exactly.
marketing-wise and promotional-wise, to
Exactly.
make it look like it's a right.
It's not a rights
issue.
issue. It's a
But
faith
but
and
come to
culture
think
issue.
of that, in the end, it boils down to the idea of sex. Now, our young boys, they are growing. At what point should we begin to draw them or try to engage their knowledge on what sex is, what it should mean, the consequences, and should I say how we should even go about? At what age, at
Yeah.
what point should we begin to engage them on that? Mind you, these boys come home, well, people man know nicely, like nothing. We don't know what they do out there. And a lot of us seem to think that, oh, these young guys are angels. We don't know what they do. And then until we are hit by that shock, oh, before we begin to say, how, who taught you that? At what point should we begin to engage their thoughts, knowledge-wise, on sex, their sexes, and exactly what the sex is? At what point should we start this?
Let me take
No,
that.
go
You see, children go through 3 development phases
Yeah.
according to sociologists. And so if we understand this development phase, it helps with the parenting, it helps with how we should grow them. The foundational is the ages from 1 to 7.
Yeah.
It is called the imprint stage. Imprint because at that point, sociologists believe that you can virtually imprint anything you want on the child. You can program them to think, to feel, and to behave in a certain way. That's why the monks like to take children before they are 7, so they can mold and shape them to what they want to do. So if you are a parent, the values of your home, the atmosphere in your home, the boundaries of your home should be shaped within this period.
Okay.
Then you come to imitation period. This is 8 to 11 or 12. Some people push it to 12, 8 to 12. That's imitation. Now, at this period, the children are trying to make meaning out of life. And so they imitate the significant adults in their lives.
Okay.
I use the word significant adult because we are Africans. So we have aunties and cousins and second cousins and others all in our homes. Or sometimes you live in a compound house, and so there are over 20 families that are impacting your children, whether you like it or yes. Then from imitation, you move to independence. This is 13 to 19. Now, this is where the question you ask come in. At independence, a child is trying to understand the world. They are going through hormonal development. They are moving to adolescence. They are going through sexual maturation. Now, for every parent, I encourage you, or every adult, I encourage you to begin to have this conversation around that period, 12, 13, before the onset of first puberty. Now, one of our friends had a good model. She took all her kids to the bed, the girls, to the bedroom, did a PowerPoint presentation. Yes, she had pictures.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and did a PowerPoint presentation and said, this is what you are going to see. This is what you are going to do. You are going to go through this. This will be the faces. This will, and they ask questions, woman to woman. You see, we should not shy away.
So
The
we should
days,
do man to man.
man to man.
Full
Take
PowerPoint
your
presentation.
child on a walk, or if they have a room, go to their room, sit down, and say, you know, you are going to go through these issues. You are going to go through that. I also went through it. This is what you are going to see. This is what it means. Because you see, if you, the adult, don't provide the right information, they will seek it elsewhere.
Yep.
And so the days when a child will come and say, Mommy, what is this? And you say, oh, it's pipi, it's bolo bolo, it's gone. Because nowadays, they have access to that information, either from a friend, from a social media page, or from Google. And you don't want them to get that other information. You, the significant adult in their life, you must be the source of right information for the children.
Right. Benny,
Yes.
at what point should we start?
I think Michael shared the structure. And maybe the only thing I'll add to is that now the 12, 13 has even shaped downwards. Today from 10, from 9, 10, the kids are already beginning to experience puberty.
That's true.
Even from 9, 10. So the conversation should actually start from this period. When they're about 9, 10 years old, start engaging them. The truth is, what you think they don't know, they know more than you. The things it took us 15, 16 years to be able to talk about, they were talking about it from the age 7, age 8. They're already having this conversations in school. I mean, I'm watching TV with my kids, something shows up, not part of the channel, it shows up on the screen, you change the channel. Oh yeah, you might have succeeded in changing channel, but they saw something. Oh, Charlie, we are funny people. Oh.
They saw something.
Welcome to the men's lounge. Here we speak it. They saw something.
They saw something.
Unfortunately for you, you don't also start a conversation on what did you see? What do you think about it? You kind of think it's an eraser because you change channel, they just wiped off. No, I think we should be serious with parenting.
Yeah.
These are real stuff. See, the mind is so beautiful that I can even be looking this way, but I'm picking information from here.
Yeah.
And I can implement it so right that my eyes don't need to pick it because my other senses are working. So you watch it and then you flipping channels and you fail over a period to engage them. Why, what are they doing? What is it called? Why are they doing that? What happens to, and you just, oh no, I flipped the channel, and then you're patting yourself in the back, giving yourself a coconut with an umbrella on top. It doesn't work like that.
You should change it one day. One of them say, daddy.
No, you
Then
just
you
broke
understand.
the flow, said something was going on there. So I think that the serious conversation should really start. And I love something that Michael spoke about, taking that responsibility to educate your children. See, nobody must have that, not even the teacher at school. I want to own that responsibility. And my wife is doing a good job with her, now 10-year-old, the kind of things she's talking to her about, the kind of exposure, the kind of, very solid. And when I'm with a boy and we have our boys, time, drive, stuff like that, we having conversation. And he's turning 7 in December, but we're already talking about things. We're talking about money. I developed this program, for a company on entrepreneurship. So we're already talking about money, and that's one of the aspects that in the development of, growing men, for tomorrow, we should talk about how do men make money, because a broke man, Masa, is not a man, is half a man. I kid you not. Maybe the men in the studio here can, Masa, if you are broke, your brains don't work.
Even if they work, it won't be
Chief,
accepted.
even you breathe halfway, you don't breathe well when you are broke. When money comes, cameraman, true? When money comes on you, Charlie, the spirit is different.
Even when you're not making sense, man, you're making sense.
You don't understand.
Guys, we're going to have to go for another break. Please stay with us. We'll be back shortly. And then the phone lines will be open so you can call, ask questions, and then contribute to the program. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you are not late. We still have some lots to discuss. I'm still here with Benny and Michael, and we are discussing how to grow current young boys to become those responsible fathers and the husbands that we want them to be in the future. And then, in a nutshell or in a whole, be the future leaders. You know, the president. I almost said the Nanados, but I mean the presidents and the the judges and all that we have. So how we are going to grow them to that extent. Before we left off, Benny was talking about how you should begin the discussions around entrepreneurship, money, savings with those young boys, even from that tender age or even a little after that tender. But before we proceed, let me just say the phone lines are open. The number is 0555 657278. I'm here with Benny and Michael. You can call, contribute, ask questions. Ask me the questions. I have all the answers. I'll give you the answers. Okay, so 0555 657278. Benny.
Yes, sir.
On the issue of entrepreneurship and money, you don't think beginning to drive money into the heads of these young folks, I mean the young boys especially, you don't think we are driving them to a certain point where they begin to think money is everything?
No. I think we've spoken about many things in the curriculum of developing people.
So you're saying this should be part?
It should be a part of it.
But you know, when you begin to experience how sweet money is,
Yes.
They won't depart.
It's discipline. It's the discipline of holding what you have.
Okay.
It's very important because even if you don't learn it now and you get it even when you are old, there are elderly people who make money and they still mess it up. Because it has nothing to do with, just the fact that you are too young. No, it has everything to do with discipline. That's why they call it the financial discipline. See, there are 4 truths about money. Money must be earned, money must be saved, money must be spent, and money must be donated. 4 things.
Okay.
You earn it, you save, you spend. One, in part of the development or training around financial discipline, we always say that you save and spend what is left. You don't spend and save what is left, because you will never end up actually saving anything if you are spending first. So the discipline begins somewhere. Teaching yourself to save, teaching yourself to even have value for the pennies. For the first time last year, my kids were able to shop for Christmas and it did not come out of my pocket. Not a dime came out of my pocket. So Christmas Eve, 23rd, they go for their shopping. Go for your kitty bag, bring it out. We break it together, count your money. Immediately, I taught them the principle of tithing for the year. So, how much do you get? Here's a calculator. How much belongs to God? They put it on the side, put it in an envelope, they wrote behind it. They know what they need to do when they get to church. Now, what is left? Now, the Joseph principle of funding or financing came in. 30% goes to the storehouse. This goes here, that goes here. So you know how much you are spending. So immediately they know what toys they can buy and what they need. I took them to the shopping. They saw the things they would have wished to, but your money is not getting there. So the next lesson is, what do you do to make more money and to save more?
Those toys, yeah.
Because my money is not buying you toys at Christmas. Of course, I had made plans for them.
Benny,
but it's a lesson.
Somebody wants to ask you a question. Good evening, caller. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, good evening. My name is C. I'm calling from Quentin.
Okay. Can you speak up a little bit, please?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So let's hear you.
Okay. I think that you are doing a very good job listening to you. I tune in very late, but I'm enjoying the conversation.
Thank you.
But your panelists are making things sound so easy. You know, the way we were brought up.
Yeah.
There are certain things that are very difficult for us to mention to our kids. Some words very difficult to even come out of your mouth. So sometimes, you know, I try to, but I just pause somewhere that I think that it becomes so heavy for me, you know, a burden for me to, you know.
Yeah.
So somebody said that it is better to engage somebody you trust, an adult you trust, to do that job for you, to probably, call your kids and talk, rather than if you are not able to do it. Then another person too came and said that if you are not careful, those people you engage, you trust so much, will rather, corrupt or, turn out to be different, altogether. So how do you break this barrier? Looking at how I was brought up, the 80s, where you just mentioned that things were not, mentioning so easily. And now we are confronted with the issue of them, having a social media around them, and knowing how do we break that barrier as a parent if you find it difficult to, say some of these things to your kids.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. Michael, this one is for you.
What was the name?
Well, we lost him already, but
we lost him,
his question, I'm sure you understand.
Yeah.
So, growing up back in the days, where through the time where it wasn't easy, to have been forthcoming with certain conversations with you, and that is what he has grown up to become.
Yeah.
Now, it is difficult for him to also begin to hold such conversation with the young boy.
Yeah.
How should he go about it?
It's very simple. He said he's finding it difficult to break it. Break it.
We should just break
Yeah,
it.
just break it. I mean, it's your own child. Nobody will arrest you.
Yeah.
But I mean, on a more serious note, if you find it difficult to mention some of these things because of a very long period of learned behavior, you can do pictures. So just Google some of the pictures, and then let the pictures become the conversation starter.
Okay.
It's easier that way. If you have a laptop and they are there, you can, show the pictures in a reel and say, what is this? What do you see? So, brother, I can't see it. So, this is this part of the human body. This is what it does. At your age, very soon, you may see this and this and that. It means this and this. When it happens, this is how, so you can use that to kickstart the conversation. But my brother, I want to remind you that the children that we are raising today are vastly different from us, as you can see.
Yeah.
And so if we parent them the way we were parented, we'll get it wrong.
We won't even understand them in any way.
Exactly. So let us come out of some of these self-imposed inhibitions and limitations and realize that we are dealing with a whole different generation.
Yeah.
Exactly. Who must be treated as such.
Yeah. Would you also agree that we also as parents, or men, fathers that want to grow these boys, maybe we should also make it a point to begin to, to some extent, learn the new things that they do,
Exactly.
so that we can, through that medium, begin to also talk to them. You don't think we should be doing
there's
that?
a high level of reverse mentoring that today's parents need. And when I talk about reverse mentoring, maybe Michael shared an avenue where you can use pictures. There's so many things.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, from a simple thing of, I can't do this on my phone. Can you? By then, I might have searched for something on Google already. Then I'm asking you to use it as a way. Of course, I'm opening myself for you to have the energy to talk. Through that, a conversation breaks out. In the West, they use things like going fishing with their kids, because there's an avenue and a platform you can be together to share, create the scenarios that are not there.
Yeah.
And those are the things we need. And like Michael said, see, if you don't have that conversation, someone will. And you better be the one who knows what the curriculum of their development is about, so that you can make very valuable inputs into them. So please do yourself that good to break it. I grew up, possibly, I'm over 40. So I grew up, in the 70s when I got into the 80s.
Yeah.
So yes, I saw a bit of that. They said even theirs were worse, but I saw a bit. Today, it's a totally new ballgame. But you train your mind to want to engage. So you come to that level, and trust me, you get it right.
You get it right. Michael, I'm giving you the chance to say your last words.
Okay. The book that I'm currently reading is Asamoah Gyan's book, Legendary. And chapter 1, page 5 of his book, he says, family provides the compass for our living. And he talks about the role. I didn't know his dad was also a footballer.
Oh.
Yeah, his dad also played football, and his brothers all played football.
Yeah,
This is
the
what I'm
brothers.
learning about him. But that statement that he makes
a family compass.
Strike something with me that a family provides a compass for a living. And I think for us as adults, that is what we must provide for our boys. We must be the compass. We are the ones who must make them see meaning out of this world. That is how we can create deliberately the future husbands, ministers, and the IMF delegations.
I hope we don't create such. Well, see, I don't want to be part of this discussion. Guys, thank you so much for being part of Admin. Thank you to the production crew. Thank you, Benny. Thank you, Michael. I'd love to see you once again another time when we have something else to discuss. Thanks a lot also to Take Back Treats for making this evening possible. Thank you to everyone who has stayed up to watch us and listen to us this evening. Next week, we're going to come your way with another exciting episode. But until then, please stay safe. I've seen that the COVID is going down. It's kind of going down. It's all because the IMF, it's, the fuel. So, everything cannot go up. As COVID goes down, we need to go to IMF. The fuel has to go up and all that. Hey, please, make fun with these things. Don't stress yourself. In Ghana, just don't. We'll see you next week. Stay blessed.